Hi babes, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be doing a story time, and I feel like I haven't done a story time in a while, but it's gonna be in regards to why I didn't do a gender reveal for my daughter. So on Instagram, on stories, I was talking to you guys about whether or not you guys want me to film a YouTube video or if you guys want me to just share it on Insta stories, and you guys were like 50-50 on it. So I helped you guys out and I just decided YouTube. So with that being said, I'm gonna be doing that video right now, story time on why I didn't do a gender reveal. And if you are new to my channel, hello sis, my name is Erika. I film different types of videos. I'm trying to do more vlogs, and I hope to be doing pranks soon. I hope so. Stay on that. If I don't post a prank within the next month, hit me up and be like, girl, you said you were doing pranks, so where they at? And then I'll just do one. But if you want to watch this video, just please keep on watching. All right, guys. So when I was 19, I had my daughter. Right now I'm 22. She's gonna be 4 this year. And so back in 2016, when I was 18, I hadn't turned 19 yet. My boyfriend and I were in an accident. So it happened to be that we were in an accident a block down from where my OBGYN is, which is where we were headed to. So on that day, we were on our way there. We were literally like a minute or two away to find out the gender of my daughter. So we were going, and at an intersection, we were in a car accident, and it was a scary ass freaking moment. Mind you guys, at that time, I was 5 months pregnant and I was 18. I feel like I was a little girl, I was pregnant, and then I'm in a car accident and I was flipping out. So we were, at the time, we had a Lexus GS 450H. And if you own Lexuses have a lot of airbags. At least this specific model did. It was one of the newer models. So my passenger seat itself had 4 airbags. I had one in the front, I had one at the top of the window of the door, had one on the side, and then had one like on the corner. And when we crashed, we hit head on, and the van that we crashed, we crashed with was also head on. But it was like on the corner. It was like, I don't remember specifically. Point is, it was like both of them were like this, right? So all my airbags went off, as well as my boyfriend's. And when an airbag goes off, at least in my case, I noticed that it released some type of like powder, as well as when you're in a car accident and both engines hit, there's like smoke. So when that happened and I opened my eyes, there was smoke everywhere. And the first thing that came into my mind was like the baby. And I was crying, like immediately I started crying. And I was in pain, and I looked at my boyfriend and I was crying, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, the car is on fire. I thought the car was on fire because of the smoke that I could see. And then I couldn't really open my eyes because of the powder. It kind of was like burning my eyes. And he was like, no, you're in the safest car you could be in. I was like, really? Is that the first thing you freaking tell me? I was hoping he'd be like, are you okay? Is the baby okay? I mean, I wouldn't know if the baby's okay, but are you fine? And that's what he says. But anywho, I was like, don't freaking say that. Like, all the airbags are off right now. I'm panicking. I can't move. So when you put a seatbelt on and someone starts driving and they press on the brake, the seatbelt locks so you can't move forward. So when you crash, it does the same thing. So I was like dead ass restrained on my seat, and it was so tight that I couldn't move. And when I was looking at him, like the only thing I could move was my neck. But when I would move my neck, like I could feel all this pain in my back. I mean, mind you, alone, I'm 5 months pregnant. I had back pain already, but now I was in a car accident. So he he presses the button, releases the seatbelt, and I open the door. But the moment I step both feet out of the car and I stand up, I felt all this pain just like hit my body. And I remember I grabbed my belly and I was crying as I was holding the door. And why am I starting to want to cry? I feel like the fact that I'm putting myself back in that situation is just overwhelming. But we were right at the intersection. So mind you, all the cars are watching, and I didn't want to cry, but how do you hold those tears back, And I felt like I couldn't move because my back was killing me. And where my OBGYN is, it's literally on, like, it's about 2 miles one mile. It's not even 2. It's like 1.5 to 2 miles from the hospital. And that hospital was the one that I was gonna have my baby. So if I turned right, I could see the hospital. If I looked straight, I could see the street where my OBGYN is, because we're at that, that center of the intersection. So when I looked right, I saw a nurse, because, the hospital is right there. There's people who, I don't know, went on break or on lunch, just getting to work. And she came running. And she's like, oh my God, honey, like, you're pregnant. And I was like crying, and I was like, yeah, I'm 5 months pregnant. And then she walked me over to the gas station, because we were at that intersection. There was a gas station, and there was like a little grass patio. She laid me on it, and she was like, don't move, don't put pressure, like, don't do anything. The ambulance is on their way. And in my head, I'm like, why is the ambulance taking so damn long if I can see the hospital? Like, the hospital is right in freaking front of me. This is a very big hospital. It's not small. It's not, it has many resources. Let me just say that. So in my head, I'm like, why is it taking them so long? So then I was in all this pain, and I was just laying on the floor. And then the girl was like, oh my God, does your chest hurt? And I was like, no, why? And I looked down, and then there's like the seatbelt, because it had like literally like pulled so tight on me. When I went forward, it like left like a burn. And I was like, no, I was like, I don't care about that. My back hurts. I was like, my back, like, I can't move. And then I was like, my belly, like the baby, like, is the baby okay? And she was like, I'm so sorry, honey. She's like, I don't do maternity. I can't tell you anything I don't know. She's like, but don't worry, like, ambulance is on their way. And then my boyfriend walked over, and he was like, how are you, babe? Like, you okay? And then he started crying, and seeing him cry, I'm such a chillona, guys. Seeing him cry and then me crying was just, it stressed me out. And then I was pregnant, and I was so scared, and I'm 18, It's one of those moments when you're like, where's my mom? I mean, in general, you should always need your mom. Dear Christ, why do I always cry? Y'all gonna be like, Erika, stop being a damn chillona. Can we just blame it on the pregnancy? Just one time. I remember I was just so, I was so scared, because one of the thoughts that went through my mind was, I pray I don't lose this baby. I mean, mind you guys, I was 5 months pregnant. I mean, I only needed a few months to go, and I was ready to pop. So in my head, I was like, please, I hope this baby's okay. Because I'm telling you guys, like, I went completely forward, all the airbags went off, and then they pushed me right back. So in my head, I was like, the baby was like shuffled both ways. And I was just like panicking, I was crying. And then the nurse goes, oh, the ambulance is here. And the firefighters were there. And they came, and the freaking first thing they asked was like, not the first thing, but the first few things they were asking me was like, how fast were you guys going? And I was like, really? I was like, I don't freaking know. I was like, I was on my phone. I wasn't looking at the speedometer. I wasn't checking how fast it was going. I was like, can you just check on the baby? My back hurts. Like, I went off on the firefighter. But it just bothered me that the first thing he would ask was that. I mean, ask the driver. I was not driving. Ask my boyfriend. So that was like my little, that little moment where you just rant. I was like ranting to him. And he's like, no, like, we're checking on your baby. You're fine. And then they put one of those like little I want to say it's a neck cast on me, and they put me on the gurney, and then they put me into the ambulance, which I thought was kind of stupid, which, I mean, I understand, because you still had to drive me to the hospital, but it was right there. So we go in, and then they take me into the ER. But this hospital is the hospital I had my daughter in, which is also the hospital I'll be having this baby in, which I love for this reason. This specific hospital has a full maternity section, meaning if something goes wrong during your pregnancy, or during delivery to you or to your baby, that hospital does not need to send you to any other hospital, because it has a full maternity section, meaning they can treat you and your baby for anything. So that is why I like this hospital. Not all hospitals have that. So I was like, why didn't you guys take me there? However, if I'm correct, I don't know if it's 6 or 7 months. You can't go into maternity section until you're 6 or 7 months pregnant, and I was only 5. So then I was like asking them, and I grabbed one of the nurses, and I was like, I was laying on the thing, and I grabbed her, and I was like, why can't I go maternity? Like, why am I in ER? And she was like, honey, you're 5 months, like, you can't, you're not accepted there yet. And in my head, I'm like, but I was in an accident, you know? And I was like, the baby, like, you guys need to check the baby right now. And she's like, I'm so sorry. And there was like so many ambulances, because I guess this day just happened, you know, it's one of those days when there's so many people trying to get in, and there's so many ambulances rushing people in that I had to wait. So my boyfriend was fine. He was like completely fine. He just, you know, I mean, I think he said he was sore from having been in the accident, but he was fine. I was fine, but I mean, I just felt like so much pain in my back, and I was like strapped down on that gurney. So I remember I told the firefighter, because they don't, I mean, not the firefighter, the guy who drove the ambulance, or the guy that was in the back of the ambulance with me. I mean, I told him, because they don't leave your site until like someone actually takes you in. I was like, excuse me, like my back hurts, like you need to do something, like I can't move. And he was like, oh, like I'll loosen it up right now. And then they loosened the straps up, and I was able to move a little bit so that it wouldn't hurt so much. Thing that sucks is they didn't take me in for like 6-7 hours. By then, you know, my parents had gotten there, my sister had gotten there, and they were a mess, just as I was, because they were like, how's the baby? Have they told you anything the baby? And I'm like, no, like they haven't. And that stressed me out. Like, I was just panicking, guys, because I was like, oh my God, like what if something's happening to my baby right now and you guys can't find out because you guys are not taking me in? Like, that was what was going on in my head. So then they finally take me in, and as me and the girl are like going, she's like pushing me on one of the wheelchairs. I was like, why did it take you guys so long to take me in if I'm pregnant? And she was like, oh, like we're so sorry. She was like, this side of the hospital, for the emergency room, I mean, she's like, we only have 2 of the ultrasound scanners. And she was like, both of them were being used when you were brought in. And she was like, due to that, you were pushed back because we didn't have a ultrasound monitor to check on you. Excuse me. So I was like, then why not take me to maternity? And she's like, you're not 6 or 7, I don't remember, it was 6 or 7, so that's why I keep on saying 6 or 7. She's like, you're not 6 or 7 months pregnant, so you're not accepted in maternity yet. And I was like, okay. I was like, hey, well, you're gonna check on the baby right now, right? And she's like, yes, like we're going there. And I was like, okay, fine. So we get into the room, my boyfriend waits outside, and I lay down, and then she starts checking on the baby, and she goes, oh, she's like, baby's looking good so far. And I was like, okay. And I didn't want to look at the screen because I really wanted to have done a gender reveal with my daughter. I really wanted to be surprised. You know, it was going to be my first baby. And my plan was that when we had gotten to my OBGYN, to ask them to write it on a paper. Obviously, that didn't happen. So then I just didn't want to look. I was like, if I don't look at the screen and she continues to say baby, we're good. Like, I can still find out later and we can still go on about whatever, you know, just as long as she tells me baby's fine. And then she's like, yeah, baby's heartbeat is fine. She was like, she kept referring to as baby. And then she goes, what did she say? She was like saying, baby. Oh, I remembered. I just remembered. She goes, yep, she's fine. And she's still like doing this as she's looking when she says that. And I turned around and I was like, she's fine? And she's like, yeah, she's fine. And I was like, I was like, so it's a girl? And she was like, oh, she's like, did you not know? And I was like, no, like I was gonna find out today. But I was like, we were in the car accident. She's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, damn. Like in my head, I was like, thank God my baby's fine. But at the same time, I was like, girl, you had it. Like you didn't say baby. I mean, you didn't say she or he. And you kept saying baby and now you said she. Like you ended it with she. Why? But you know, whatever. The point was that the baby was fine. And she was just like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't know. And I was like, it's fine. Like as long as the baby's okay, you know? And she's like, okay. And then she's like, we're going to take you to the other room because now we're going to check on you and your vitals and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay. And as I'm walking out, she's like, give me 1 second. I'm just going to turn these off and I'll meet you outside. And I was like, okay. So like I got up and I walked a few steps to the door. And my boyfriend was sitting right at the door. And I looked at him and I was like, she's fine. And he was like, what? And I was like, we're having a girl. And I remember he just like leaned back on the chair he was sitting, kind of like to soak it in. And he was like, we're having a girl? Like, how do you know? And I was like, she told me at the end of checking the baby. And she's like, he was like, so we're having a girl? And I was like, yeah, we're having a girl. Like, he couldn't believe it. And I think it was because we were so dead on thinking we were having a boy. There was no signs, no nothing like that told me I was having a boy. It was just, I was like, it's a boy. We're having a boy. You know, when you're just like, you're rooting for one. And you just, my first pregnancy, I ain't gonna lie, at the beginning, I was rooting for a boy. However, I don't regret having a girl. I love Aubrey. She's my life. But yes, in the beginning, we both were like, oh, it's a boy. It's a boy. So I remember I feel like it was sinking in on him. And I mean, it still was to me too, but it was just how I found out. So because of that, we didn't do a gender reveal after, because we found out. And since my family was still outside, when we went outside, I was like, she's fine. And I told them, obviously, it's a girl. And that is the reason, guys, why I did not do a gender reveal for my daughter. I mean, not many of you guys had asked me. It was just like 2 people or maybe 3. I don't know. Someone was like, oh, did you do one for your daughter? And then I remember one person did say, why didn't you do one for your daughter? And I was like, oh, let me just answer this in a video or on Instagram. But that is the reason why. Unfortunately, I was in a car accident. So that is how I ended up finding out, because homegirl slipped up and said she. But all I'm praying for is for this pregnancy to hopefully be, as almost, I mean, my pregnancy with Aubrey was amazing. Like, I can't really complain. I didn't have many complaints with her, except for the only thing was, which, when I got in the car accident. But aside from that, my entire pregnancy was fine. I just hope that this one is just as fine as that one was, and that this baby comes out just as perfect as Aubrey is, and just as healthy. And that is all I'm hoping for. And hopefully I can have a gender reveal, because guys, I already have this one planned out. So I did mention to you guys that if you wanted to attend my gender reveal, I was going to be choosing 2 of my supporters. So on Instagram, I'll be posting the picture here where I told you guys to go and leave a comment and say, I don't know, whatever you want, and then say, I want to come to your gender reveal. And I'll be picking 2 winners from there. Also, for the YouTube giveaway that I told you guys about, which was the makeup bag. Yeah, the makeup bag and the gift card. The 2 winners are posted on my Instagram. So here's a picture. If you go like that picture and read the caption, it'll tell you who won. I'm playing, guys. Let me just tell you. But you could still do that. You could go check my post out. But the 2 winners are Jessica Salgado and Melanie Santiago. They're 2 different people, guys. 2 different last names. Remember when I realized that both of the names started with an S, I was like, wait, is it the same person? Sisters, maybe? And then I was like, no. So my bad, I was cut off, guys. The freaking camera actually died. And I noticed when it went off, and I was like, no. So I had to wait for it to charge. But as I was saying, these are the 2 winners. Just make sure you guys send me a DM, and I'll be confirming with you guys if you are you, and you need to confirm with me that you are you. So with that being said, if you have not followed me on Instagram, my Instagram is Muaerika18. Make sure you subscribe, turn on, little post notifications, drop a comment. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Hey, I look better than what I've been through, yeah. It's a celebration.